Booker season approaches. Booker 2022 is coming. July 26th is the day they announce the long list of books that have been chosen by the judges. 12 or 13 books. And I thought that it would be nice to share some reflections on Booker seasons past. What Booker has meant to me the last few years. When I started out this booktube journey, I had no idea what Booker was. I had never heard of the prize. A lot of my favorite reading would be Steinbeck, Hemingway, Pearl S. Buck, Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings, Daphne du Maurier. Writers like this had a very bad taste in my mouth as it related to modern literary fiction. So the first reflection on Booker seasons of past, of yore, of lore, Booker seasons previous, is that it introduced me to the merit of modern literary fiction. Prior to engaging with Booker in 2020, which was my first season, I very much felt that there was nothing of merit in modern literature. And if there was, it was hidden under rocks and stones and in used bookshops, not being read, and would be very challenging for me to discover. I did not have a respect for modern literary fiction, and Booker has given me that respect. I have read books that I have found very important and very moving and beautifully written and profound and evocative and beautiful. So number one, Booker season and engaging with the Booker Prize process has given me a respect and introduced me to modern literary fiction. My second reflection on Booker seasons previous, doing it particularly on BookTube, it has introduced me to some very wonderful people. Part of my desire in starting this BookTube channel was to share my thoughts about the books I was reading, but also to have the opportunity to be inspired to read things I would never have read and meet new people and new readers. As readers, I think each of us knows all too well how challenging it can be sometimes to find someone that can swell over a book the way that we are swelling over a book, the way we are being whelmed by the power in the pages. People maybe that do not find the same merit or value or gold between those bindings. Part of my hope in starting this BookTube channel was to find a community of readers, and Booker has given me that more than anything. I have met wonderful people from all different backgrounds, all different nationalities, all different places that love to read and find value and gold. Even more than that, we often are able to disagree and hash out and debate around a book, and that to me is a special process. My third reflection on what Booker seasons of past have provided, the Booker Prize has pushed me to read books I would never have read prior. It has pushed me to at least attempt books I would have never picked up off of a shelf. Once being introduced to the merit of modern literary fiction, there could be a tendency to just stick with a certain genre or stick with a certain author. When you follow a book prize, you get introduced to authors that you never would have known, that you maybe never would read one of their books, but you're following a book prize, so you're invested in the prize. And so you're interested to see, how do these books measure up against these other books? This book moved me deeply. Is it possible that this other book might move me even more so? Or will it validate the fact that this book is special? That process is important, I think. Following a book prize pushes a reader to read books they never would have, pick up books and attempt books they never would have. And that, to me, has proven to be a pleasant surprise as well as a challenge. But the pleasant surprise half of that has been I've discovered books that I never would have picked up. For example, Booker 2020, C. Pam Jung, and her book How Much of These Hills is Gold. I never would have picked that book up off the shelf. Number one, because I was not reading modern literary fiction. Had never heard of C. Pam Jung. I don't know that I ever would have even come across that book. But that book, for me, was the best book of 2020. Is that true? Is that how I feel? C. Pam Jung did not make the short list. I would have rooted for that book to the end had it made the short list. And so that's 3 introductions following the Booker Prize provided for me. Number one, it introduced me to the merit of modern literary fiction. Number two, it introduced me to some wonderful people in a community of readers. And number three, it introduced me to books I never would have picked up off the shelves, as well as their authors. The final reflection I have on Booker seasons past is that they were fun. And ultimately, that's what you want out of a book prize like this, out of an experience like this, out of an activity that a community orbits around like this. The day this year that the Booker Committee and judges will be announcing the long list of the Booker Prize 2022 is such an anticipated date. Waiting for it like it's Christmas morning. Excited to see what are the books that we're going to be feasting on over the next couple months. What are the books that our swelling, whelming debate and back and forth and hashing out are going to orbit around? Who are the authors? Will the books that we find the most merit in be viewed that same way by the judges? Etc., etc., etc. It is fun to follow the Booker Prize. I leave you with that, fellow readers, fellow friends, fellow Booker people. July 26th approaches. There's so much to be excited for. I'm excited to jump in with you and read these books, and I'm excited to see what you find in these books that the judges put on our table and set out as one might a feast. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Leave some comments below. What do you enjoy about Booker season? What has Booker season brought to you? What has the Booker Prize brought to your life? I'd love to hear. I have a few books on hold at the library that I'm anticipating, including Douglas Stewart's second novel, Young Mungo, Trust by Hernan Diaz. There's some books that are slated and possibilities for the long list that I'm going to try to get a head start on if I can get a hold of some copies. So until then, I'll talk to you soon. I'm excited to jump back in on this channel. Happy reading.